Hey old friends, welcome to the channel. Bob here. I hope you're well. This is Mortal Online 2 again today. Before I start, a couple of interesting things. First of all, I think a couple of much bigger YouTubers than me have covered the game recently, so it's probably worth searching for those to have a look for some different opinions. One seemed to kind of really like it, and one kind of likes some stuff, but not some other stuff. It's interesting listening to the criticisms, like things like the game telling you how to do things. It just doesn't do that. And I think that for some people, if you play certain games, you're going to find that frustrating. If you're used to playing games that hold your hand, or even not, I'm not suggesting that people are not willing to find out some stuff for themselves, but this game kind of really doesn't tell you anything, and it kind of should do. I think it should give you a bit more information than it gives you, but not as much as I found one of the YouTubers particularly sort of wanted. But I do agree that it does need something. It needs some tutorial, particularly when you're doing things like spending your hard-earned silver and gold, for example. You're not quite sure where to spend it. Now, I was lucky in the sense that someone had already done. I'm kind of roughly following a Mage building guide, so someone had already done the hard work for me, essentially. And I guess there's an argument to say that the person that's done all the hard work, they had to do it. That was a choice that they made to do that, to work out what books you need, at what point to stop reading the books because it's not important anymore, etc., etc. So yeah, I mean, this is something that I could have done, and not too difficultly. I mean, I'm going to be moving from the newbie island today, but even on the newbie island, it was relatively easy for me to make gold. It would be even easier if you were more combat focused from the start, because the zombies drop heads that sell for quite a lot. So yeah, I think the game does need more descriptive text, particularly on things. I mean, this actually says description text. So I'm assuming maybe it's something that may be added in later, but just something that tells you a bit more about what's going to be happening when you're spending your silver and gold. But not a huge amount more information. I've quite liked the that side of things. So, as you know, I was going to wow, that's a chunky girl, I guess. Holy smokes. As you know, I'm looking at creating a mage, what they call in the game fat mage. So your vital statistics determine, and your things like your age and stuff determine certain stats, like and the maximum you can train those to. So go back and watch the first video where I talk about that a little bit. But I've basically got myself up to a point that I'm going to show you now. I'll try and get these windows so that they're fairly easily viewable. I don't want things to be too window heavy for this particular portion. But anyway, yeah, so I'm following a rough guide, which I left a link to in my first video. And these are the books that I've bought so far. So I've spent 4 gold plus the reading book. So I think the reading book's, it's between 10 and 50 silver. So we say roughly 4.5 gold, essentially. And when you read these, it unlocks skills for you. And as you saw in the previous video, you continue to study the book until you're finished studying it. So some of these books, following the guide, you don't need to read all of them. There's a couple of books, so mental training, for example. The guy, Bill Bonte's guide mentions reading the book until you get a first skill gain, and then just stop reading it. I'm assuming because these skills then go up basically on their own, quick enough for you not to have to worry about reading the book, and you can move on to the next book. So obviously like magic schools, ecumenical spells, that's my current spells that I've got in my spell book. It feels very Ultra Online-y, as I said, the way you gain skills, the way you gain your stat points. The spells need reagents, however you want to pronounce it, to be used. So I bought my spell book as well, which is 1 gold. So if we say 5.5 gold to get to this point. So as you read the book, these skills go up. And as you're reading the book and these skills are going up, your stat points are going up. So as you'll see, my psych and intelligence have gone up quite a lot since the first video. And that's just through reading books. And the tooltips do give you some basic information. So the Vitalism book has got meditation and mana regeneration underneath as sub skills, and that's basically about your mana regeneration. So one's passive and one is when you're resting. So there's a resting skill. Mental training, mental focus reduces mana cost, more damage, etc. So this is all very much, to me anyway, feels like Ultra Online, as I said before, where you had your mage skill, but then you had skills underneath that which improved your magic skills. Yeah, and that's basically where I am. This is where my skills are. It's worth mentioning that lost my train of thought. Normally there'll be a cut here, but there's not. It's worth mentioning that these skills that I've only gone up from reading the books. I haven't actually done anything yet from a casting spells point of view. That may put some people off, but as I said in a previous video, I have been out in the world doing stuff, so it's not like I haven't been doing anything. And the thing that I was going to say that I briefly forgotten is that I've forgotten it again. That's terrible. And it's that it's that skill gain is accelerated at the moment, so that's why I was reading books, and the time to read the book wasn't reflected in the actual time it was taking me to read the book. So yeah, this is called the version of the game is currently called Mortal Online 2 Closed Combat Beta. Not saying beta. So they want you to gain skills quicker at the moment, so you can go out and use them and test them essentially. So that's why skill gain is quicker. And this is where these books I've reached basically from a skills point of view. You've got animism. These are all new spell trees. This one lets me dominate creatures, which is quite interesting. A bit enchantry from EverQuest, I guess. Yeah, so I haven't learned these yet. I need to get the books for them, which I will do at some point. But I just kind of wanted to follow the guide fairly basically to get to this point. Now, I haven't maxed my stats yet. I'm assuming all this will take much longer when the game is released and the increased skill gain is turned off. But yeah, on the guide, it kind of tells me to spam some spells and stuff just to max my stats out, and I'll probably do that for now. It's also probably worth pointing out how I got my gold, I guess. If you look at the map here, this section of forest here to the south of the city, there's a lot of flowers and stuff, herbs and whatever to pick. So I concentrated my time here. Also along the coast here, you find some seaweed stuff that sells relatively for a relatively good amount. And I'm assuming if you just follow the coast around, yeah, you can just pick up the seaweed. I quite enjoyed following the coast because in this forested area, there's a lot of foliage, and it's easy to spot the flowers relatively, but you do have to keep an eye out. But you do get flowers as well as seaweed will spawn along the coast, and obviously because it's mostly sand, they're easier to see. I didn't go up into this mountainous region, so what I might do this morning before I leave the Newbie Island is to travel across. Maybe follow the road to this lake past a graveyard, and then maybe just look at this mountainous coastal section here. That might be quite interesting. One of the things I've really enjoyed is exploring the world. It's funny because one of a couple of things also that were mentioned by one of the YouTubers was, first of all, the community talking about, you ask a question, you get lots of just learn to play and abuse and stuff. Well, I haven't come across that, to be honest with you. I've seen there is a help channel, and I've seen loads of people asking for help in the help channel and getting help. You do get the odd numpty, but the worst thing I found about the chat is just like PvP players posturing, like come over here and I'll, you know, grind you into the dirt kind of stuff. But I've actually at the times that I'm playing anyway, I found the community quite helpful, so I don't quite know what the problem is there. Sometimes I think people come into games with an expectation, and they kind of look for things that enforce that expectation. Maybe that's, yeah. I really haven't found that, to be honest, in the help chat so far. It's been pretty helpful. I mean, I've asked questions and got help, and I've seen loads of other people ask questions and get help as well. So maybe if you play peak times, maybe there's more of an issue. I'm not sure, but yeah, that's how I've got my mage to this point so far. One thing I would say is that I've been doing things a certain way to max out my intelligence and psych, which will max out my mana regen and spell damage. I'm not sure I'd recommend doing that because it means everything else is really difficult. Like if I go to the inventory, for example, I mean, I killed a pig yesterday and butchered it, and I couldn't move because my strength is so low that I had to basically drop most of the pig on the ground to be able to move. So building a character this way with 10 strength is not probably a huge amount of fun. Outside of being quite specific, but I just wanted to try this to give it a go anyway, and I'm going to carry on doing it. Yeah, but if you're into crafting and stuff, you're going to need a lot more strength just to be able to carry the resources that you collect, essentially. So first part of the video, I've shown you what I've done so far, and I'll come back when we I mean, if I see some nice stuff on the way, I'll point it out to you for my little exploration to that mountain coast section. But if not, you know, but the next part of the video, I think we'll probably move to the big boys' land and see if we get ganked or not. Hello guys, welcome back to the video. So I've moved over to the big boys and girls mainland, I guess. Moved over from the newbie section. This is I've thanks for the tip. I think it was Jacob who gave me the tip to come across to, I think it's Faburnham is the name of the city. It's a guarded town, so I think that within the town you're kind of relatively safe. Outside of it, I'm kind of not so sure. Yeah, but this is the big landmass. You can see a quite autumnal looking picture over there with the trees. A little bit of a castle. Lots of land to explore. Yeah, a quick look at how things have been going. I've been casting some spells. I've almost used up all of my attribute points. So as I said in my first video, I'm not going to be able to max out these. So I'll probably have to nick some points from Constitution to max these points out. What I'm currently doing, and I thought I would show you, recognising fauna and flora might be a good thing to do. So I thought I would just show you some, show you some herb gathering. One of the things, as I said, about this build is that carrying anything is terrible, and I'm quite slow. So one of the things that the guide recommends that I'm following is that you get a horse, and that kind of leads you into doing some animal taming, which is great. As I said, like the skill system and whatnot, it's got quite an Ultra Online feel to it. So I'm kind of going to try and recreate my Ultra Online kind of tame a mage, see how that goes. But yeah, so I want a horse, and you can tame your own horse. So at the moment, I've got to buy some more skill books, as you do. So at the moment, I'm gathering some more plants. They're fairly easily recognisable, even in wooded areas. If you just see here, these plants here, just in front of me, with the different coloured green, they're the resource gathering nodes, as it were. They seem to respawn fairly quickly as well. So I depleted these about less than 5 minutes ago, I would say. And some of them have got resources back already. So I guess you could just camp a spot with a nice view. But I'm going to have a bit of a wander. But yeah, but it's quite easy to see the plants. convolvulucci. Convolvulucci has got a white flower, and the Avernsis, I think it's pronounced, has got a blue flower. So it's a bigger white and a bigger blue flower, so you can recognise them that way. But I find it easy to recognise them just with a different colour green stem and leaves, basically. But I'm going to explore a little bit. One of the things I've really noticed in raising, let's have a look. Got like a pet menu as well. Oh, nice. Tell all your pets. So I guess the higher your skill, the more you can tame. That's nice. Yeah, what I've noticed is that the first character I created in my new player experience video didn't have any of these skills, like mana regeneration, meditation, focus, offense. And so I was casting spells at things and doing no damage, and my mana took ages to regenerate. So the way I've kind of built the mage so far is definitely the way to go if that's the way you want to do it. You haven't got to go as extreme, I guess, with regards to being a fat mage, as it's known. That's for Burnham down there. There's also a little lake there, which haven't looked at yet, so I'll have to check that out. Yeah, but I think there's also, as part of the guide, there's also like a dex-based mage, so I think you're generally going to be moving quicker. I'm assuming you'll do less damage because your intelligence and psyche might be lower. I'm not an expert. Yeah, but I've come to the edge of this here and can't go anywhere else. But anyway, I thought I would just kind of help you to identify. I think what I'll probably do is go down this way. There are some bushes down there, but invariably the bigger bushes are not really that much. I think it's probably wolf brush, which is quite good for mana regeneration actually if you're stuck in a pinch. But yeah, with regards to selling, not particularly good. Yeah, wolf brush. Yeah, so it's fairly easy to spot the plants, and I normally find that a heavily forested area is the best place to go. There is some seaweed you can get, as I said in the first part of the video, from the coast. I think I'm fairly close to the coast. Viburnum is in the northern. Oops. Viburnum is in the northern territories. Common myrtus is also something you can pick that will give you some mana regeneration as well. But I'm going to go on exploring, and then for the last part of the video, what we'll probably do is we will see if we can get the taming books and then tame a horse. Hello guys, welcome back to the video. So I come over to the graveyard because I thought I might as well show you some combat. I've only got reagents for one spell at the moment, which is a little firebally type thing. I thought I would just show you the combat. At the moment, with this spell that I'm casting, it's not particularly interesting as a mage. The game is, I guess because it's PvP, it's like, you know, target based. As in the sense that you have to target your opponent. Now, this particular spell that I'm casting is a bit of a nightmare because the targeting reticle is so small, and the actual part where you can target a mob seems to be really small. Is that particularly in PvP? If you're a mage in PvP, I'm sure there are ways around it, but at the moment, like targeting. So you cast a spell, so you kind of prepare it, then you've got 20 seconds to cast it. We'll see if I can find something to cast it on. A zombie. There's quite a few players here at the moment. There's a zombie. Okay, so the distance is quite long, quite large. Boom. Not the most amazing of effects, although the zombie model does look quite good. I'm going to assume that at some point there's going to be a lot more magical effects because the game looks great. So I'm just picking up the heads at the moment because the heads are worth 20 silver. Yeah, but this is the combat in a graveyard. Also, I know that Viburnum is a guarded town, but I'm now away from the town in a graveyard, and there are some guards outside the gate. But I haven't been attacked by any players yet, so I don't know if this is just generally a region where, you know, people don't just go out of their way to gank you or whatever it is. I'm not 100% sure what's going on, but I did see some players fighting outside the city gates, but there didn't seem to be anything particularly malicious going on, and I'm here in the graveyard away from the city with 3 or 4 other people. Although we're actually running out of... Oh, there's a Papa Josh. He's up there casting some spells. Yeah, and I haven't been attacked by anyone yet. And there's a couple of big chunky dudes here with big axes and big spears. So yeah, I'm not sure if just certain areas are no-go areas, a bit like living in London or wherever. Certain areas are kind of safer. I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah, I've killed a few skeletons. The skeletons drop some armour as well. The zombies, I should say, drop some armour. I think there might be a casting penalty or something wearing armour. It's quite Roman in its visual style, the armour that I've got. Yeah, so those heads, that's McCockney coming out there. Those heads, that's 80 silver on its own, just those 4 heads. So, yeah, I'll probably head back soon and we'll see if we can buy a horse. But yeah, as you can see, you saw a little bit of the combat there. Slightly disappointed with the spell effects, but it is just beta, so these things are change. I'm casting like the wimpiest spell, so what I'll obviously do at some point is we'll cast more high level spells. I haven't even unlocked the spell trees, like where you look at this guy. I just want to show you the model. Look at that dude. I think it's Unreal Engine 4 they're using. The armour looks sweet. If you're into armour, making armour and looking like a knight type, then yeah, you'll certainly like this game. But anyway, so far for me as a mage, the combat's quite basic. I know that the aiming and stuff on, I know the aiming and whatnot for combat, for melee combat and stuff is kind of area. So like these mobs have got I've got some armour on their shoulder there, and if you attack that part, it glances off the shoulder, which I quite like. If you get too close to the mob, like the hilt of your sword will hit the mob, you know, so you'll do less damage. Yeah, this is not the combat for this current particular spell that I'm using. As you can see, is not particularly visually appealing. Oh, got some sulphur though, but it's doing the job, and I'll try some bigger spells at another point. But anyway, yeah, it's a little bit of mage combat. Hello, welcome back to the end of the video. So I thought I would just buy the books I need to tame the horse, and I'll save the horse taming for the next video. Yeah, so these are the books you need to buy and learn before you can tame a horse. Interestingly, as I said before, I've mentioned Ultra Online a couple of times, and the game is, can be quite similar. Because you've got like a spell, you've got a skill cap. So skill cap is 1100. I've only got 289 points left. I'm assuming that these skills plus any sub skills they've got, could go up to 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's interesting. 93. So if we had these skills up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 657, 780. That's interesting. So if you count up all of these if you count up all of these points in the sub skills as well, that would come to over what we've currently got. So I think this your maximum amount of skill points is based on the actual main school. And the training inside there doesn't count towards that. I'm not 100% sure. I guess we should probably try it. But these are the skill books that I need to learn. So let's just have a quick look, shall we? Domestication. Let's see what that affects from a skill point of view. Yeah. So we've kind of got skill. You've kind of got skill caps. So when you're building your character, you need to be aware of that. You can kind of remove levels from skills. I'm not sure if this will be in the... And you can lock them as well. I'm not sure if this will be in the game at the end. I'm really not sure. Combat techniques. That's interesting. Yeah, so for most of these skills, you can remove levels from the main skill. But for combat techniques, you don't need to go into here. Interesting. Yeah, but like combat techniques, for example, I can remove skill points from here, so I've got extra skill points. I'm not sure if this will be easy to do in the full game. I guess if it's like other games, there'll be a time period where you need to wait for that to happen. But let's read domestication. So we've learned a new skill, domestication. Beast influence, beast mastery. So I'm assuming that these are other books I would need to read, or maybe some of these skills will go up as I'm learning them. It was interesting because it was my domestication skill is 16, but it was 289 when I started the book, so that hasn't changed. Let's wait till we get a skill tick and see what happens. I'm not sure if this is a book that's particularly quick or not from a reading point of view. This is quite a quick one actually. So domestication's up to 45. Okay. I'm obviously missing something here because it's not taking any points from my skill amount. Every level of a primary skill takes away 1 point of your skill points. Sorry. So okay. So if I mouse over these, some of them are secondary, some of them are primary. So Taming's primary. So when I read the Taming book, that will remove some, as will all of these. Yeah. So I probably won't have enough points to go full on animal taming either. But maybe I can do another character that's just based on animal taming. I don't really want to drop any of my... I've still got some magic schools to learn as well. So, yeah. Interesting. So anyway, guys, I'm going to end the video here. I'm going to read my books, and in the next video, we'll look at, hopefully, taming a horse.